for the first time in my life, I'm done with Windows. And that generally makes me really sad to say. So I'm here in my, albeit very messy studio right now. Everything is everywhere. I'm kind of in that position right now where everything kind of works and I just need it to stay that way right now because I've got so many projects on the go that I simply don't have time to tidy it. But you can see here my PC, which I basically don't use anymore, currently has the back case off. It's got the front cover off as well, and I've kind of gutted some hard drives out of it because basically I'm running this old Lenovo ThinkBox as basically a NAS, like it's a custom NAS. It's just allowing me to access my current data drives at the moment through my Mac Mini and through my MacBook as well. This is all going to change. I'm going to build a purpose-built NAS properly. Right now this is doing the trick because I needed something very quickly. And I need to essentially replace the Ethernet cables going from my network switch to this and my network switch to my Mac Mini as well with these, because these are Cat 6 and currently they were Cat 5e in there. So I need to hook this up to the back of this. So let's get on with that. Okay, so that's that done at least. I know I mentioned in the last video that I was going to do a video about moving away from Windows and moving to, I'm now using a mixture of Mac and Linux and also a little bit of Windows. You can't beat Windows for gaming at the moment, but Linux is certainly catching up. I'm pretty much set to move away from Windows because, as I said, this is my PC that I built myself and it is currently sitting there and I haven't used it in like a week, which feels really sad to say. Yeah, that's currently the state of affairs, and I'm going to go into a little bit of how I've done that. While on the subject of sorting out things that are just really bugging me, right? This is something that really annoys me about these. These are so good, right? These are from IKEA. If you're looking for like the perfect switch for your smart home, like if you're running Home Assistant or something similar and you want automation buttons that work, they're Zigbee. You don't need like the proprietary IKEA bridge or anything like that. They just literally, they pair straight with my little Zigbee thing down there, and it just works flawlessly. I realised I just said all that and now I'm totally about to slag it off. No, genuinely, I have absolutely no issue with the buttons themselves. I think they're incredible. The issue lies with me. I'm very good at walking past and brushing against them and just turning all of my lights off, and it's really frustrating. I could just move them, but I kind of want them to be, you know, next to the light switch. But there is something I need to sort out that's bugging me. For this job, I really need some Blu-Tack. I really need to get myself some double-sided Velcro because, they're just the best. But for now, that'll do the trick. Right, let's talk Windows then. Actually, first let me get some Chrome tabs up. There we go, perfect lighting. So switching away from Windows then. To say this has been a challenge would be a gross understatement, if I'm honest with you. This has been an absolute nightmare. And you may just be wondering, like, Joe, why didn't you just use Linux like everybody else? Everybody else seems to be moving to Linux fine. Why couldn't you just pick that and go with it? Well, for me, I had such a diverse use of Windows on a daily basis, but I had to break it down into the core things that I get on with every day to work out how I was going to do this. Those were audio editing, radio presenting, gaming, and general productivity. Now the first one's easy. Audio editing I could already do and already did do quite a lot on my Mac. Macs are notoriously great for audio editing, and I had absolutely no issue switching to a Mac to do all of my audio editing. That has been super seamless. The real challenge for me came with number 2. Radio. I am a radio presenter and I have to do a lot of recording every single day. And when I built my home studio, basically used virtual audio mixing for all of that. If you're wondering what that is, the long and short basically is I was using a program called Voicemeeter, which looks like this, and it lets you use lots of virtual cables which simulate what real cables do in real life. Imagine plugging them into different channels and stuff, and you can route that all into one singular output, which you can then put into any software you like. All of my music playing out and my microphone, and I could duck it all with actual real faders that I had set up just with MIDI. Now this was serving me for the last year, couple of years, whatever, that I've been doing this at home, but I couldn't do that on a Mac. I tried lots of different options and eventually just settled on the fact that I was not going to be able to do this virtually. So enter the purchase that I made, that I had to make, but I'm actually really happy with. This is the Rodecaster Duo. I went with the Duo over the main big one because, quite honestly, I didn't need 6 faders or whatever it is that comes with the main one. It's huge, and I needed this to fit on my desk. If you remember the Go XLR, this is kind of like that, but so much better. It's so good, in fact, that I think I'm gonna reserve an entire video for this. I'm gonna use it for like a month, and then I'm gonna do an honest review. Generally speaking, my experience with this so far, and I've had it a couple of weeks, is this is one of the best products in the audio suite that I've ever used. And that's coming from somebody who has had an entire audio rack for the last few years, and it's now all in a cardboard box. So the radio one was my biggest problem. With that fixed, there was only one other really big issue, and that was storage. My Mac Mini is a 500 gig configuration. It's nowhere near big enough for me to do what I need to do on a daily basis. Coming from a PC that I had multiple hard drives full of all of my audio projects and the things that I use in my audio projects every day, I needed a solution to this really big problem. Enter my Linux installation now. So this is going to get a little bit technical. And also, this is all still very temporary because I'm working on a more permanent solution. But essentially, my long-term goal is to set up my own custom NAS. I'm not interested in buying a purpose-built NAS. I'm not interested in Synology for obvious reasons. I'm going to be building my own purpose-built NAS box very soon, but that costs a lot of money. So in the meantime, I have dug out an old machine and I have installed Linux on it, and I'm essentially running a Samba drive. So I've essentially taken my data drives out of my old daily driver PC, shoved them into this box, and this is now running on my local network, my data drives, which lets me access them from my Mac, from my MacBook, from even my phone. I can, for the first time, I can access my data on my phone. And I, like a lot of other people in the open source home running community, am running all of this over Tailscale, which is an incredible, really incredible program. Like, big up Tailscale, they are so good at what they do. Tailscale essentially takes the really painful things out of running your own VPN. VPNs are often associated with like these big companies that let you, access sites that you wouldn't normally be able to access and all that stuff. A VPN can also just be used as a way to access services on your home network when you're not at your home network. So take this for example. This is my home network right here. It's called KinchNet. I think quite appropriately named. When I'm on this network, KinchNet, I can access my home network drive. I can access all of my home services that I have. I have a Proxmox box, I have a Home Assistant installation. When I leave my house, or even if I just turn off my Wi-Fi and I'm now on my data, if I want to access any of those services, it's obviously not going to work because they're not accessible from the outside world. Now, one way traditionally of doing this is to port forward those services, which would be to essentially take this service that's inside and can no longer get past my router and let it breach through so that I can go to my public IP address and access those services. I do not recommend this. Please do not do this. I still think the best way to not let people get in is to just not have a door in the first place. You can have a lock as strong as you want on it, but if there's no reason to have a door, don't have one. So Tailscale is an incredible way to get around this. There's also other services. I believe there's even a self-hosted version of Tailscale, or a self-hosted fork of Tailscale that you can run. But if you're like me and you just kind of want that middle ground between good security and ease of use, Tailscale is the perfect solution. And that's pretty much ticked all my boxes. Bar gaming, which I still have a Windows installation ready to boot up at any time that I can game on. That will still be there until the time when Linux gaming is fully there. It's getting there, and it is in a much better place now than it has been in the last few years, but it's still not fully there. A large reason for that, of course, is kernel level anti-cheat, which, just needs to go. Most of those being EA games and GTA. So until that time is that I can play those games on Linux, I'm gonna have to keep my Windows install, but I can comfortably say I haven't taken a break and gamed for the last couple of weeks, and I haven't booted up my Windows PC. Now, of course, I will update in due course how this project goes, and I'm also going to film the building process of my NAS box when I do get around to doing that. For the first time since I first started on computers, my first computer was a Windows XP laptop. For the first time in my life, I'm done with Windows. And that generally makes me really sad to say, because it really didn't have to be this way, Microsoft. Do I think there's still time to fix things? Yes. Do I think Microsoft will? No. I think there's been this outcry for many, many, many years. I think that this day has been coming for a lot of people. It's been one thing after another since Windows 7, realistically. And I think with the recent move towards more AI features that, let's face it, have compromised security, I think this is just it for a lot of people. So yeah, please let me know in the comments below if you have already or you are in the process of switching from Windows to another operating system, whether that be Linux, whether that be Mac. If you're a creative, you're probably already on Mac already. But please do let me know below how it's going. And also hit me up on Instagram. I've dropped it in the description below. My DMs are always open. I would love to know how your setup looks and how it's going, and how the transition is working for you, and how you're finding it as well, because let's face it, it could be quite new for you. If you've been on Windows your entire life, this might be very different for you, and I would generally love to hear the good and the bad of your moving from Windows journey. But I'm going to keep you updated on mine. For now, this is where it ends. It is a story that is still being written, and I will continue to publish the results as it goes. For now, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.